to light the menorah. That's mitzvah number 1. Number 2, we're told about 7 neirot that we're not told otherwise in the other 2 sections. And third, how is the menorah? How it is exactly made? The structure. What are the prachim, the flowers, and the other structure? And number 4, it says regarding the neirot that when you're lighting them, it says Penei ha-menorah. What does it mean? The face of the menorah? Penei from the word panim? What does it mean? And therefore, Rashi, for instance, Rashbam says, listen to this. Rashbam, the grandson of Rashi, I'm bringing before Rashi, he says that all the wicks have to be to the direction of the shulchan. The menorah is in the south, and on the northern side of the holy is the shulchan. And the wicks that are to be lit as part of the menorah lighting, they have to be, all 7 of them, as if they're illuminating or bringing light to the shulchan. That's apparently based on a Torah objective. Nechama Leibovitz brings us in one of her articles. In Book of Shemot, chapter 40, we're told that the menorah has to be opposite the shulchan. And we try to, shed light on the idea here that the shulchan, which represents the material, physical affluence of the Jewish people, is illuminated by the light and wisdom of Torah. We believe that Torah penetrates, permeates every field of our life. And when our material and physical lives are illuminated with the wisdom of Torah, with the mitzvot of Torah, with the particulars of Torah, then the material affluence is on a higher level that we reach perhaps during the time of King Solomon, Shlomo HaMelech, in temple period number 1. So that is one understanding. What is the panim? That means the ptilot are facing, the wicks are facing the shulchan. Rashi, however, has a different matter. The panim of the menorah is the middle, not the 3 branches to the right and the 3 branches to the left, but the middle ner. That has to be towards the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Remember, in the Kodesh, we have the menorah, the shulchan, and the golden altar. Rashi, based upon the oral Torah, says the Penei menorah is that the middle branch, the middle part of them, no, not the branch, has to be facing the Holy of Holies going west, as if the menorah is illuminating the Aron HaKodesh towards the western side. The truth is, the Rambam, Maimonides, in his Mishnah Torah, in the laws of Beit HaBechira, he brings this opinion of Rashi, that the middle ner has to be towards the Kodesh HaKodeshim. And he writes even in the words that the middle ner is towards the Kodesh HaKodeshim. So that's regarding Penei HaMenorah and the novelties we see here. By the way, here we're told Aaron does not tarry. He produces, in verse 3, the Aaron right away. And we're told about the different matters. Now we go to the section, gentlemen, in verse 5 and on, the section of the purification of the Levi'im. Some of you said brilliantly that how can you be using mechatat if we don't have a paraduma? And you argued that the paraduma section, the red heifer, is in chapter 19, and here we're only in chapter 8. So, well, as you said many times, our Torah is not a book of history, therefore it's not written in chronological order. Already, after Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the inauguration of our Holy Tabernacle, day number 2 of that month is the burning, according to our Masorah, a tradition of the oral Torah, the burning of the red heifer. Day number 3 is this section, the purification of the Levi'im, day 3 of the month of Nisan. And here we're learning about a process that only we see Aleph, the Levi'im going through this process and not the Kohanim. And number 2, when in chapter 19 we learn about the sprinkling, we learn about 2 sprinklings, day number 3 and day number 7. And here we see no notation that day number 7, they are sprinkled as well with the ashes of the red heifer. So we like to try to answer this matter. Number 1, like some of you said, it was Yosef. Certainly the Levi'im are contaminated in the impurity of death because the 3,000 people that violated the laws of perhaps of idolatry in the sin of Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf, they became Tmei Mate, defiled to the death. And maybe this fact explains why the Levi'im have to go through this purification and not the Kohanim, because the Kohanim already went into their role on the first day of the month, and therefore apparently they were not contaminated with the dead. What are we going to do here without sprinkling number 2, that it's done twice? And therefore there are those that explain that only now was one sprinkling done and enabling them to do the bringing of the sacrifices, and what's going to switch or exchange for a second sprinkling is that taking the edge of a razor and shaving off all the hair of their skin. We've never found in any purification process whatsoever in the Torah, except as Rashi brings for a mitzorah, a man that had leprosy. Otherwise, we never see the removal, the shaving off of all the hair. We never see anything like this ever before. And if we ask ourselves symbolically, what could it mean, the shaving off of all the hair of the body? Well, some of the commentators explain hair on the body represents all external, superficial influences on a Jewish person, or here on a Levi. The hair is something external as if to the body, and therefore, when now the Levi'im are going to be doing such a holy process and going to be serving for the Kohanim and serving Am Yisrael there, therefore the shaving off of the hairs is symbolizing that when you're coming to purify yourself, sometimes we have to remove outside external influences that could be influencing us for the bad. Okay? And therefore, there is the removal here. And some explain that this giluach, the shaving off, is instead of the second sprinkling. The second sprinkling. Regarding the laundering of the clothing, v'chipsu v'gdehem v'teharo. Okay, the clothing also maybe was contaminated to the dead, and therefore first have to be cleansed, meaning detergent. But number 2, v'teharo, have to be purified. Not only the clothing, but we understand from the last word in verse 7, v'teharo, that they themselves, the Levi'im, will be immersed in a mikveh, just like their clothing is, because we never found any place in the Torah that the laundering of clothing of someone that is tamei is without the person. So just like the clothing, which is impure, that has to be immersed in a mikveh, certainly the tevilah, the immersion of the Levi'im, has to be done as well. Okay? Then we come to the congregation of Adat B'nai Yisrael. What are they there? And why are they laying their hands, doing smicha on the Levi'im? Okay? Right now, apparently we have a representation of the Sanhedrin, or the elders of Israel. And they're putting their hands, smicha, on the heads of the 22,000 people, is representing the following concept, as I learned from my dear father-in-law, Rabbi Horowitz. Who was earmarked to be serving God? All the firstborns. Now, the Sanhedrin appearing here are now representing the agreement of all Bnei Yisrael. We're giving up. We, Bnei Yisrael, are acquiescing our shutafut, our partnership, and therefore, we thought we were going to be the ones, but we're not, because we sinned. And now, the tribe of Levi is in lieu of, is in exchange of all the Bechorim, the firstborn of Bnei Yisrael. So right now, we're agreeing. How are we agreeing? We're like transferring our agreement from ourselves through the high court to the heads of the Sanhedrin, and therefore that is the smicha that is done here. Tomorrow we'll follow up with the tenufa, the waving, and you'll tell me how many tenufot are there mentioned here, and this and more in tomorrow.